All right, I am breaking down the cylinder head of a 2012 Ducati Diavel. Now, what I've done is, before I took it off the block, I broke these screws just a quarter turn. That way when I sit this head down, I can drill them out. They are 25 foot-pounds, so you know, if you take it off the block first, you either got to put it in a vise, or you got to buy Ducati's headstand, which is like 250 bucks, which this bolts to, and then you put the headstand in the vise. I wouldn't recommend putting the head in the vise. It's only aluminum, but you know, to each his own. And then popping these off. I'm putting everything in a cardboard box. I got a box for each head to keep these things organized. And I'm videotaping this because I'm not going to remember all this shit, and the manual is awful. So hopefully you can learn from any mistakes I make, and if you have any advice, I'd love to hear it, how I can do this better. There's the front. These things are stuck in there pretty good. There we go. All right. And I'm going to clean this all with brake cleaner before I reassemble it. Right now, I'm just worried about taking it apart. And then I'll lay these cams in the box. There's a lot of pieces here, so don't just put this down randomly, right? Keep track of it. Find a place for it. Make sure your cams are marked intake and exhaust. They are different. I've got a little color pen. Also make sure your cams are marked for the timing chain before you get this far. Just getting rid of some loose oil here, some assembly lube. This is in fact my second time putting these cams in because I thought I could get by with just replacing the valve shims. But even with replaced valve shims, my two intake valves aren't seating right. So, and then the next thing I would suggest you do is, oh, forgot these bolts. Okay, so now I'm gonna take out the intake side these are the intake side pins holding the opening rocker arms. Do that wrong. Make sure you get the washer. It goes with it. Flat side goes toward the head. And to get these pins out, you just take an M6 bolt. You probably have, I got this, I think this came off an old IKEA bed or something that I don't have anymore. You probably have one around the house. Anyway, just take it in there. Do not try and pound it through. It's not one piece. Take it and find the thread. It screws right in. Give it a couple spins. And it slides right out. This one's kind of dry, actually. It should have been getting more oil. We'll clean that up with some brake cleaner. All right. And note, it says P on it. So that's P1 is intake. I'm sorry. Well, it's marked. I'm not sure what the markings mean, but that was intake side, intake belt side, we'll say, and we'll figure the other markings out as we go. All right, now we need to get this screw in this one. This one's not coming out very easy. Let's see here. WD-40 maybe? The rocker arm moves freely. But the shaft it spins on does not. I'm wondering how much oil these were getting. So this is the horizontal head, so this would have been the top of the head. That sucker's really in there. I might have to heat this. Now, just FYI, I did not have to heat the other head. You don't want much. I'm just going to let that stay there for a minute. One way to orient things in the box is to put your exhaust gasket on one side of the box and imagine the head sitting there. That way you know you can kind of orient how you put the pieces in the box. There we go. And we got 1, 2, 3. And I got some painter's tape. I'm going to tape these together so they stay together and I don't lose them. That is peculiar. That doesn't come right out here. All the other ones, I already did one head. None of them have been this tough. So I don't know why that one is not working. Sometimes it takes a minute for that WD-40 to work. While that's working, now, despite the size of these pliers, I'm not going to use much force here. I'm just, okay, with the tips of your fingers. And then I need some needle nose pliers. Pop this out a little bit. Grab a hold of it with a pair of needle nose pliers. Having some trouble locating at the moment. There we go. Now there's, I don't know, it seems on both of my heads this has been consistent. There is much less tension on the intake spring, closing rocker arm spring, than there is on the exhaust spring. So I'm going to do the intake spring first. Just let that rest. So it's soft. And then we can pop that out. And then I take a, to get the closing rocker arm off, I use a 12mm socket. Maybe an 11mm. And I just put it over there, give it a good little pop. Pops right down. Make sure you have a magnet for this, because these little pieces that hold the closing rocker arm, I mean, there's my finger, and look at the piece. These are teeny tiny and they get lost easily. And then this slides off. Opening, closing rocker arm, intake, belt side. Okay, now that's free. We can pop this off. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah, shit. You guys getting all this? How's my angle? Yeah, that's good. Some tools away, get them out of my way. This one won't come out. Let's see if this one will. Yeah, it comes right out. Don't forget your spring and your spacer. Let's try the magnet on that. Good shop practice, put them back the way you took them off. That way you know how they go. All right, now that one was a little rough too. I'm starting to get a little concerned that maybe oil wasn't circulating through here like it should. It should not be that tough. Try a little more pressure. Try. See if we can just tap it. This one is being a real stinker. Not sure why. There's always one. There we go. Now let's look at that one. Oh, it's pretty dry. Not much oil on it. So now it goes in and out smoothly. Interesting. Little screw out. So we'll definitely be putting some assembly lube and maybe some brake cleaner in there and get that all cleaned out. Maybe I'll do a little bit of that now. You can kind of feel grit on the inside of this. Grit that's not supposed to be there. Okay, that's better. Now it's sliding. All right. Nothing goes the way it's described in the manual, I'll tell you that right now. Not with Ducatis. Now you don't need a whole lot of strength here, once again, to remove these spacers. Excuse me, what do they call it? shims, opening shims. But they are greasy, you know, with oil and whatnot, so they're hard to get a hold of. This we're just going to pop out. Okay, that's loose. Later. Up it down. Magnet. This slides off. Once again, be careful with those little clips on the shims. They get lost very easily. Now, because I don't want this going anywhere, I'm just gonna let some more tension out of it. Move it over. Okay. Now. Crack it. And then we'll get the drill on it. Now that one's got a lot of oil in it. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. That means this one probably isn't going to give me any trouble coming out. And no, it doesn't. Which means this should wiggle right out. And these springs only go on one way. You can see there is a little, it goes like this. And this part, there's a little, maybe you can't see with the camera, but there's a little groove in the head. So this one has a bend to it that goes in the hole, and this one doesn't. So they really only go in one way. I really like the way this shaft feels. It's lubricated, it's not dry, it's not gritty. That's a good sign. All right, put that one in position. Now with the exhaust valves, well, I'm not ready for the exhaust valve yet. I'm sorry, no, we're gonna do the openings first. So let's crack this bolt. This back out of the way. That one had some oil to it, which makes sense because this is the bottom of the head. Because remember, this sits horizontally. Nice and oily. Good signs, good signs. And it slides right out nice and smooth. That's a good sign. So once again, I'm a little concerned that the one shaft is so dry. Now this engine has been sitting for a while because I made the mistake of buying head gaskets from a company called Athena, and they leak all over the place. So this is like the second time I'm putting this, actually this is more like the fourth time I'm putting the engine back together, but in the previous times I hadn't taken all this out. I'm taking these heads to a machine shop at this point, just to make sure that the surfaces are super flat and that it's the gasket and nothing else. So what we're going to do here is we are going to pop off these, do this one a little differently. For this one, I'm going to take the shims off first and then let the spring just unwind. All right, just holding this with my thumb. It takes a bit of strength, but you can do it. Oh, get out of there. All right, that's two. And I'm just gonna let that pop off and swing back. Okay, and now I can let it rest there. Grab that shim. Now I will pop out the shaft. Nice and oily, good sign. And smoothly, it easily comes out. Now we'll do the same thing here. Press this forward. sometimes the valve goes down. So put a little shim underneath it so that when I press forward, the valve isn't going down. Huh. Maybe that one needs a little heat. Some of these spacers are kind of tight. See if we can clamp this down a little better. That sucker is stuck on there. We're going to put some heat on it. Doesn't take much. Well, on this one, I guess what we can do is take the spring out. You want to get it just to the edge so you can get it with a nice pair of pliers. Well, I didn't like the way that didn't happen, but all right. Now let's make sure that's under the valve so the valve can't go down. You want to heat the shim, not the stem. It's kind of hard to get in there on both sides, but we'll see. You don't want to bend the valve. There we go. Well, nothing ever works like it says it works in the manual, I'll tell you that. Nice and smooth. I don't know why these closing rocker arms for the exhaust are so much stronger than the ones for the intake, but they really are. They really require some thumb muscle, I'll tell you that. Okay, so that is pretty much the whole top of the head taken apart. And then if we flip it over, you can see the valves come right out. And they aren't very clean, so get that cleaned up. Now, one way to clean them is to take a piece of paper, like just takes a piece of, this is made by 3M. It's called Red Brillo. Well, it looks like Red Brillo, but it's safe for aluminum. It will not scar it. Put this in your drill. And this is not tight, okay? I'm not clamping down on my drill to hold the valve in there. I'm just finger tightening it. And I'm using speed rather than force. I'm not pressing down on the valve. And you can see, I mean, it's starting to work. It's not done by any means, but it's starting to work. Anyway, so I'm going to clean these up. I mean, if you don't want to do this, you can hand brush it just the same. It takes a lot longer. I think I'm going to spray this with a little bit of throttle body cleaner to see if I get a better result. And you can see it coming off. I mean, look at that. It's pretty shiny. That's a pretty good clean. And once again, I'm not squeezing hard. I'm not applying a lot of force here. I am just holding it there. Look at that. I mean, you can see the difference every time. No. Once again, this was only finger tight, right? The valve slides right out. I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on, but look at the difference in just that little bit of time. That's pretty clean. I wish I had a solution for the cylinder head as well, but I'm gonna take that to a machine shop, get that scraped out. Also, just letting it soak in some spray a little puddle in there and let it sit like that. Look at that. All right, that's fairly clean. All right, once again, this is a Ducati 2012 Diavel head. It's the 1198 motor. It's the same as the 1198 race bike or the, was it motocross, whatever it is, the other one. They all have the 1198 engine. So this is the breakdown, and this is how I did it. I'd love to hear your comments out here.